Farming has changed drastically in the last couple of decades, or certainly in the last couple of generations. And I think people now still have kind of a nostalgic view of what farming was like 50, 75 years ago, and things have changed so drastically. Farmers are a lot more specialized in their industries now, so they will have specifically a chicken farm or a beef cattle farm or a dairy cattle farm, whereas in my grandparents' generation, they would have had a farm with all of those animals on it. Along with that, I think the care of the animal has become a lot more important to farmers, and they're doing a lot of different things to make sure that the birds in their barns are as well cared for as possible. Farmers are such a resilient group, and I've never worked with a group of people as passionate as farmers are. They are in this business because they love farming. They love working with birds, they love working with animals, and everything they do is, of course, to make a living at the end of the day, but also to look after those animals in their care as best as possible. Farming is larger scale than it was generations ago, and that's for one key reason. We now, in the country of Canada, 2% of our population are farmers, which means we are feeding the other 98% of our population. So farming has had to get bigger because, again, in my grandparents' generation, they were looking after themselves, feeding their family and maybe a few neighbors. Now we're feeding a country. And so farming has had to get a lot bigger, but I think as a result, it's become a lot more specialized and a lot more efficient. Biosecurity is one of the biggest concerns in the poultry industry for sure, because one misstep could ruin a whole industry for the whole country. And it's important that people realize the steps farmers take to protect their birds. I know a lot of times people will think that they're protecting, when we're dressing them up in biosecurity outfits, they think we're protecting them from the birds or maybe from the smell, and in reality you're protecting the birds from the people. So if you do get admittance to a poultry farm, you're going to have to go through a very strict biosecurity protocol, disinfecting your footwear, putting on clean footwear, putting on full biosecurity outfits before you're even allowed in a barn. Farmers also do a very good job through their on-farm food safety program of documenting everybody that has access to their farms, keeping their doors locked so that unwanted people or animals can't wander in, and all of these things are trying to make sure that those birds are as well protected as possible. There's a real misconception from consumers that chickens don't have enough space to live in these barns, and that is absolutely not the case. Birds are flock animals, chickens are flock animals, which means that they like living in clusters together, and often if you gave them twice as much space, they would still all live together in one corner of that barn. The biggest misconception in the Canadian poultry industry is the issue of hormones in feed. There are no hormones in chicken feed. There haven't been in decades, and there never will be.